This clip is from the Piano Inspires podcast, Season 2, Episode 20, featuring Courtney Crappell with host Jennifer Snow.
If you start your first piano lessons at 14, that's a huge disadvantage if you want to win concerto competitions, right? You just don't have enough time to build your skills. But it's a huge advantage if you really want to understand the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've started piano lessons, and I've seen this more and more at the age of 3 or 6, being aware of your own learning processes is much more difficult. It's a different experience.
Yes.
When you're a teenager, you're so much more sensitive to that. And then even as an adult, you hear people talk about new instrument. We heard that actually this morning at a talk. And being aware of that learning process is a huge advantage. And I started seeing myself as like, how am I making lemonade out of these lemons, of the challenges I had, and then turn them into, real tools to use. So I started realizing, hey, I've got this skill set of like project management that most people don't have. I'm here. I want to get to here, that distance. What are my steps to get from there? And I was a self-learner, right? Think back to this correspondence course in high school.
Yes.
My mom wasn't even there. I was puzzling out this math, or when I took the ACT, sometimes it's the SAT, it depends on the state you're in. But, I just holed up in my apartment at the time and found math courses and studied until I could get a good enough ACT score to get into the university. So that's hard. There are easier pathways. But at the same time, it was training those thought patterns that would prepare me to do that again and again later. So really valuable skills. I'm waxing on and on about this, but
no, this is it's so fascinating because I also think your pull towards world pedagogies and world music is connected to how you learn. In this act of discovery of oral tradition. That's how you first immerse yourself in piano.
Yeah.
And you connect with that intuitive response to music.
Yeah. I'd add a piece to that too of what resonated with me so much there, especially like I was getting to know these Native Americans in different cities near Norman and Oklahoma City. What really resonated with me was the value system that they placed upon the art forms. And that was much closer to what I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So in Western art music, a lot of times in the conservatories, we're focused so keenly on a few values. One is virtuosity.
Mm-hmm.
So technical virtuosity is really honored, especially in the Western world, well, all over the world, but that technical display is part of what we do in the classical music. And then the complexity is another one that we deeply have honored in Western music. We write symphonies or even piano sonatas that are so incredibly complex that we have to have sheet music in order to be able to even figure it all out. When I first went to a Native American dance, and there was such a beautiful simplicity to it all. People sitting around a drum, singing, and some of it is very technically complex, but it's not why they do it necessarily. They can have competitions, of course, but and so I was talking to one person, I was like, what do you like about this music? Like, what makes it great? And it's like, oh, well, brings us together. It makes this event better.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets to participate. So those are different value systems, and they were much closer to my background. Dad with a guitar.
Right.
Like, it had nothing to do with how fast his finger worker was. It was, is everybody having a good time? Do people feel special? Part of the picture there.
Mm-hmm.
So that also dragged me into it further and deeper. And I think it's something, what's really exciting now is our world, NCKP, MTNA, they're doing a lot of work to really heighten awareness of that issue that, hey, be open to other value sets, explore that, because just because you think something is valuable, somebody else might not. And if you don't understand why there's value in something, someone else may be able to teach you that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm going to take us to a journey now where you are coming out of this extraordinary higher education journey. You are ready to embark in your career in piano pedagogy, and you start by becoming a professor in piano pedagogy. And you move your life and you start in that profession. Talk a little bit about your time in the field in piano pedagogy and how that led you into leadership.
My first job, when I went to San Antonio to work there, I was so terrified because I had taught piano for a long time. I'd studied and, I would say I diligently tried to prepare myself for that job as best as I could. The problem, though, is, it takes experience to be a great piano teacher, or any teacher for that matter. And I wasn't that old yet, hadn't had a lot of experience. And I remember sitting down with one of the local San Antonio teachers, and because there were a lot of people who were enrolling in that program who were teachers who were coming back for their master's degree. And I said to this person, I don't have any business getting into a teacher training class with somebody who's been teaching for 30 years. I said, that's incredible. It's like, I don't know if I have better answers or even something to bring to the table. And his response to me was, that's why you're going to be really good at it. He said, because you're aware of that and you're ready to learn the next things. Like, just great teachers keep learning. And he was right. I kept getting better, but I also had a lot to offer. And that was exciting. Isn't it amazing? Like when you realize, hey, I have something that could actually mean something to someone else. And that's a beautiful human experience. So I go back to, like project management skills that I had developed as a mechanic or a self-learner and things, and that ability to think, I need to get from here to there, to break that task down, to really dive in and understand, like, why is this hard? How can I make it simple? Or why is it complex? How can I make it simple? One of my favorite quotes, by the way, is by Pete Seeger, the folk singer. And he said, any darn fool can make something complex. Takes a genius to make something simple.
It's wonderful.
And I think that's like what we try to do as teachers, right? We're trying to make this accessible. It's confusing because it seems so hard and complex. And, you break it down, you make something that creates that entry point for someone. You see them have the aha moment, and everyone has this moment of euphoria. And then you're like, I got to do that again. And so that the pedagogical process, whatever that means, there's so many aspects to that, but thinking of where you want to get to and how the journey will bring you there. Thinking of how you understand, how you understand another person so that you can approach a topic and make it accessible for them. Different learning styles, different backgrounds, different attention spans, different physical abilities, all of those things, because you're becoming keenly aware of your students and how you're going to help them.
Be sure to listen to the full episode on our website, pianoinspires.com, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.